Alright, this is Eric Ackman, Lab 4. This is using the reservoir. So in our circuit, we got the conditioning unit, we got our push button, and then this is basically just a cold in so our air doesn't leak out because I didn't have a good way to cap it. And then in the button, it goes to a 3-way manifold, to our gauge, to the reservoir, from the reservoir to another push button, and then another manifold to split off onto the other gauge. And then we got our flow control valve to our motor, which goes back into the conditioning unit to vent out. So if we press the button, it fills our tank up, and so we can control how much pressure goes into the tank. And then when we press this button, it spins the motor, which can also be adjusted right here on how fast the motor spins. And so that's our system. Alright, and we have open circuit, so both buttons are pressed, motor spins. Alright, this is Eric Ackman part 2. So from the conditioning unit, we go over to the push button, over to the gauge, and then to the flow control valve, to the spring-loaded cylinder. And then to release it, it back feeds off of this button. And on the second circuit, we come out, we go over to this push button, to the motor, and then we're set at 90 psi. So if I press this button, it extends the rod out, and then I push, so that holds the paper down, and this turns on the motor, representing, so that represents it grinding the paint away or something. And then I press the button and it retracts. So push, retract. And if I want to speed up the cylinder, I open this up more, and now it opens up quicker. This is Eric Ackman part 4. We got our conditioning unit to our 2 push buttons. Push this button, it activates that cylinder rod, and I push the bottom button, it goes to this manifold, to the Alright, it goes to our flow control valve, to our other piston rod, and so if we adjust this, it adjusts the speed of the cylinder. And then out of these 2 manifolds, they're both sides are separate, it goes into this AND gate. So if both pressures are there, then it activates the center one, which then goes to another flow control valve, which goes to a manifold and a pressure gauge to indicate the pressure. And it also goes to the motor, and from the motor it goes to a little puck. So yeah, I'll demonstrate it now. I think it's on. So this button activates that rod, and it controls how fast it retracts and goes out. And then this one, a bit more aggressive. And if we press both, it activates, so that activates the motor, the puck, and the gauge will start reading pressure. Alright, this is stage 5 of the lab. A little bit different setup. We added a gauge here instead of a cylinder rod. We got a gauge here before the motor, and then we got a gauge after the motor. And this is to show the power loss. So if I press this button, it reads at about 42, which is roughly about where that's set. That's that. And those gauges aren't showing anything yet. But once I press both buttons, that goes down, And that's even less pressure at 20 and less pressure at 10.